Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1 and our group members are Nur Izzati binti Ismail, Aini Liana binti Nazri, Nurul Fatihah binti Hashim, Khairia binti Kamarul Zaman, Raja Nur Sahira Sakina binti Raja Sazali. We will present about fatwa on the use of cochineal dye in food manufacturing, analysis on the verdict and deduction process.
For the introduction, Islam is a religion that emphasizes the halal aspect of a product from food processing to the process of distributing food to consumers. Cochineal dye is a red dye that is extracted from a female beetle that known as cochineal. The cochineal dye plays a very important role as it was used the red dye in the food, cosmetic and pharmaceutical industry. The picture below shows the cochineal and the red dye that extract from the cochineal. For the fatwa issues that from the Malaysia, Fatwa Committee of the National Council of Islamic Affairs 100th Malaysia Religious Affairs held on July 4th to 6 2012, which is after examining the evidence, arguments and views that put forward. Muzakarah is one of the view that cochineal is a type of insect, which is female beetle, that is harmless, and the dyes produced from cochineal can be utilized by humans. In terms of national legislation, the Food Regulation 1985 have stipulated that carmine dye obtained and produced from cochineal are permissible based on good manufacturing practices, which is GMP. Muzakarah also stressed that Jumhur Fuqaha stipulated that the carcasses of insect whose blood does not flow is pure, and cochineal dye is obtained from that cochineal insect in which the blood does not flow. Based on the ruling, Muzakarah agreed to decide that the use of cochineal dyes in food, beverages and consumables is allowed, and the rate of use allowed is in accordance with the decision of the Ministry of Health Malaysia, as long as does not cause harm. The divine sources that can be related to the fatwa, which is from the Surah Al-Baqarah verses 172, which is, O you who believe, eat from the good things which we have provided for you, and be grateful to Allah if it is indeed him that you worship. And from Surah Al-Ma'idah verses 87, O you have believed, do not forbid the good things that Allah has made lawful to you. Do not transgress. Allah does not love the transgressors. For the legal maxim that related to this issue, as for the cochineal dye issues, there is no Quran verses or hadith which say that the usage of the cochineal dye is prohibited. This is based from this legal maxim, which is al-uslu fi al-ashya al-ibaha hatta yadul ad-dalil ala tahrim. This means that the default ruling in any matter is permissibility until there is proof prohibiting it, which is anything is originally considered as permissible until there is proof that it is forbidden. For the argument, the Jumhur Fuqaha agreed that the carcasses of insect whose blood does not flow is pure, and cochineal dye is obtained from that cochineal insect in which the blood does not flow. In addition, the views of scientists are also considered in the submission fatwa in Malaysia. Cochineal is described as a harmless insect. The use of the insect as a source of dye does not pose a danger to humans and does not contain any harmful substances. According to Malaysian law, the Food Regulation 1985 has stipulated that carmine dyes obtained and produced from cochineal are allowed based on GMP. It also must comply with the usage rate allowed by the Ministry of Health Malaysia.
Okay, the state of Pahang also had made their own ruling on cochineal colouring, which it was a review standard rate set by Muzakarah Fatwa Kebangsaan. Okay, the ruling has been held by Pahang State Islamic Law Consultative Committee meeting, the 7th meeting on 9 October 2012. Okay, from the meeting, they agreed that the use of cochineal dye is permissible in food, beverages, and consumable, and the allowable use rate is must accordance with the decision of the Ministry of Health Malaysia, as long as it does not cause harm. Okay, the ruling that given out by the Mufti of Pahang, as we can see, is similar with the National Fatwa, okay, which the cochineal dye is permissible to be used whether in food or beverages. Okay, their argument for their ruling is one of it is the juries of Hanafi, Maliki, and Hanbali scholars, okay, accepted that animals or lizard or insects that do not flow blood are clean and unclean, whereas Shafi'i school scholars consider insects that do not flow blood to be unclean, which it is considered as carcasses. However, the third evidence showed that the use of this insect as a source of dyes is permissible, which it does not pose a danger to humans and it does not contain any substances that can be harmful. Okay, to convince the ruling or the fatwa, legal maxim that adequate with the arguments is ad-darar yuzal, which harm should be eliminated. This legal maxim explain which it is our responsibility to choose and secure what is benefit to us and prevent any harmfulness. On the other hand, when the experts found the cochineal dye is safe to be eaten by stating the standards rate or quantity, then it is permissible as long as it does not harmful to the consumer. Okay, for the divine source, there is no verse of the Quran or hadith that stated in this ruling. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Next is the fatwa from Indonesia. In Indonesia, fatwa related to food dye from Cochineal officially started on 10 August 2011. Cochineal known as insect that live at the cactus and eat at a plant nutrition. Cochineal also called as an animal that has a similarity with grasshopper and it has a non-blood flowing. Food and drink dye that come from Cochineal are permitted. From Majlis Ulama Indonesia 2011. For the divine sources, from Surah Al-An'am, verse 145, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim, Qul la ajidu fima uhiya ilayya muharraman ala ta'imin yata'amuhu illa an yakuna mayyitan aw damma masfuhan aw lahma khinzirin fa innahu rijsun aw fisqan uhilla li ghairillahi bihi faman yu'tuwa ghaira baghin wala 'adin fa inna rabbaka ghafurur rahim. The meaning is, say, I do not find within that which was revealed to me anything forbidden to one who will eat it, unless it be a dead animal, or blood spilled out, or the flesh of swine, for indeed it is impure, or it be that slaughtered in disobedience, dedicated to other than Allah. But whoever is forced by necessity, neither desiring it, nor transgressing its limit, then indeed your Lord is forgiving and merciful. The legal maxim related to this fatwa is Al-aslu fil asya' al-ibahah ma lam yakun dalilul mu'tabarun ala hurrimat. The meaning is, the origin ruling related is permissible unless there is a verse or nas that prohibited. From the argument from this fatwa from Majlis Ulama Indonesia also apply the qiyas in their argument, which Cochineal has a similarities with the ruling of grasshopper. The opinion from Al-Bakri in his book Yana at-Salibin that agree with the permissibility with the animal that has non-blood flowing. So that's all for the fatwa from Indonesia. Next is the fatwa from Australia, which is the ruling related to the using of the Cochineal as a dye. So they also have a argument stated, which is red blood currently is extracted from female cochineal insect. Just like it is not permissible to eat insects. It is also not permissible to consume colouring extracted from insect.
My name is Aini Liana binti Nazri. I will present a fatwa from Brunei. Okay, the fatwa from Brunei on Cochineal is the Department of Mufti of the Government Brunei Darussalam in Irsyad Hukum related issues on food ingredients sourced from insects. Option Cochineal dye as not halal to eat. For the divine sources from Al-Quran, Surah Al-A'raf, verse 157, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, wa yuhillu lahumut tayyibati wa yuharrimu alaihimul khaba'ith, meaning, He commands them to do good and forbids them from evil, permits for them what is lawful and forbids to them what is impure. Based on this ayah, the prohibition of khabith, which is bad and disgusting, Brunei considers insects included in this category. For the second sources from Al-Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 3, Hurrimat alaikumul maitatah, meaning forbidden to you are carrion. Based on this ayah, the reason for banning the carcass is because it is an najas. All carcasses are unclean except the carcasses of fish, grasshopper and human corpses. Brunei Fatwa also differentiate between insect carcasses that are intentionally or unintentionally included in food or liquid. If one of the nature of water change, then the liquids considered najas. Divine source from hadith, which is the reason for banning the carcass is because it is an unclean thing, which is najas. Therefore, all carcasses are najas except the carcasses of fish, grasshopper, human corpses. The legitimacy and purity the carcasses of fish and grasshopper are mentioned in the narration of Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, it is permissible for us to have two types of carcasses and two types of blood, namely grasshopper and fish, liver and spleen. Hadith narrated by Al-Baihaqi. The legal maxim related this fatwa is Darul Mafasidi Muqaddamun ala Jalbil Masalih. This maxim is a subsidiary of the leading maxim, harm should be eliminated. When a certain act will result in both beneficial and harmful effects, the magnitude of the effects should be analysed. The Brunei Fatwa states that the use of Cochineal has a harm effect on human health. From website Pelita Brunei, based on scientific findings from research and studies conducted by a group of research from the University of Michigan and Arbor, Michigan, USA, showed that dye from Cochineal insects added to sweets, yogurt and fruit drinks, it can cause a variety of dangerous diseases. Among these diseases are life-threatening allergic reactions, causing adverse effects of hyperactive in children and cancer. There have been reports of intestinal infections involving the use of Cochineal and caused the deaths of children in Boston, USA, and 22 people have a serious fever due to consuming products that use the dye. The arguments of the fatwa from Brunei Fatwa is bound by the application Shafi'i said in their fatwa stating it najas. Okay, the first is insects are not halal such as cockroach, beetles, caterpillars, ants, lizards, scorpions, spiders, mosquitoes, bees and flies are forbidden to be eaten except grasshoppers. This is because insects are included in something that is considered bad and disgusting. Okay, the second is Cochineal is an insect that does not bleed but its carcass is unclean and not halal to eat. Third is the use of Cochineal is only on the extract from the insect is used as a dye but it is still considered illegal because the dye is part of the carcass of the insect despite its use in small quantities on a product. The next is the dye from the cochineal can clearly change the nature of the liquid that makes the liquid in the food mutanajis or mixed with feces. Okay, the lastly is the fatwa also consider the opinion of the British and European parliaments that the dye from these insects be banned due to the harmful effects of the dye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Izzati binti Ismail. I will present about the Cochineal from the country of Trinidad. So this fatwa is came from the Mufti Arshad Ali, which is from the Darul Ifta Jami'ah Madinatul Ulum Trinidad in 2017. So the fatwa said that carmine is a crimson red pigment derived from the cochineal, which is a scale insect, by crushing and boiling dried insects in water to extract the carminic acid and then treating the clear solution. So, based from the Trinidad, said that there is impermissible to consume any product that contain carmine. Also, product that is from the cosmetic products such as lipstick, which is there have a strong possibility to take the carmine. So the usage of the carmine is not be permissible. So, but the external use of products that contain carmine is permissible. This came from the Trinidad Fatwa. Next, we move to the divine sources of the Trinidad country. So, based from this country, they use the sources from the Al-Quran, which is from the Surah Al-A'raf, verse 157. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمْ خَبَائِثَ, meaning he will make lawful for them all good things and prohibit for them only the fool. So from these sources, they use this to give the fatwa that they not permit to use the carmine or cochineal in any of their product that they consume, except the product that not used for the, meaning that the external product that they use that contain carmine. Next, we move to the legal maxim of the Trinidad country for the cochineal. So this we use from the legal maxim Darul Mafasid Muqaddamu ala Jalbil Masalih, which is mean that this maxim is a subsidiary of the leading maxim, which is harm should be eliminated. So this maxim means that the preventing harm is prioritized than taking its benefit. So from this from the fatwa from the Trinidad country, they not permit to use the carmine or cochineal in any of their product, except product that used for the external products such as shampoo and so on. So from this fatwa we can see that they not permit because of the insect. The cochineal is came from the insect, so they expect that the insect is prohibit to us to consume, right? So they use that to extract their fatwa that the cochineal cannot be consumed to any of their product accept the product that for consumed for the external. Lastly, we move to their argument. So, based from the argument in the fatwa, said that according to the majority of the Sharia scholars, the consumption of insect is not permitted and falls under the purview of the Quranic verse, which is came from the Surah Al-A'raf, verse 157, means that He, which is Allah Ta'ala, permits pure substance for them and forbids filthy substance unto them. So, this means that they use this as their argument. They said that the insect is khaba'is, so they cannot consume any insect that that made for the that which is used to make a product. So they use this argument that said that the cochineal is cannot be consumed because it came from the insect, which is the dead insect. Because insect came from the khaba'is. So this Trinidad country give the fatwa that the carmine cannot be consumed except the product is used for the external product that contain carmine, which is such as shampoo and body wash and so on.
Bismillah. Okay, based on our research, South Africa also has derived their own fatwa on Cochineal, which the fatwa has been stated on their official website, which is askimam.com. Their mufti is Mufti Ibrahim Desai, has indicated his answer after received a question regarding this Cochineal issue that arise from the African people. The question was from Zamir Abdullah, which he asked whether the cochineal is halal to be used in some spices like biryani masala, chicken tandoori masala, tikka masala and custard powder strawberry flavor, or they need to find other ways to replace the spice that use coloring of cochineal. Okay, moreover, this fatwa also stating the definition. I don't know if these can be as their arguments or not. Okay, which cochineal is primarily sessile parasite native to tropical, which this insect is coming from America and Mexico, that come from the family of Sternorhyncha, where the crimson colored dry carmine is derived. Okay, then there are two principal forms of cochineal dye, which are: the first is cochineal extract. E120 is a coloring made from the raw, dry and pulverized bodies of insects with around 20% carminic acid. And the second, carmine E120, is more purified coloring made from cochineal. Then the third argument is cochineal is primarily identified as E129. Okay, I have already checked to the SANHA, which the South African National Halal Authority. There has declared that E129 as haram after conducting detailed research on cochineal, E129 as well as other reputable halal organizations across the world. Okay, this is because there is a health issue regarding this cochineal insect. Okay, that's.
Lastly, we can conclude from these 6 countries that giving fatwa about the consuming cochineal. So based from these 6 countries, Only two countries permit to use cochineal in the halal product, which is Malaysia and Indonesia. The reason that they allowed to use this cochineal in their product because based on their research and their opinion said that the cochineal dye came from the dead animal, which is the blood does not flow. So while the other countries such as Trinidad, Australia, South Africa and Brunei said that these cochineal are prohibited to consume in the halal product. So these 6 countries have a different opinion about the consuming cochineal in their halal products.